Alright, hey Anthropomorphic Nerd here, and guess what? Do you know of a man named Mr1upz on YouTube? Do you? Do you? You might. I honestly have no idea what you know or what you could possibly be thinking right now. Nevertheless, he has gone and ranked all 35 cross-generation evolution Pokemon, and, you know, I've been bouncing around this guy's channel every once in a while, trying to see how he's been going with him for a pretty amount of time. But with that being said, I decided to react to his rankings. I kind of want to see how this man, this absolute lad, decides to rank out all of the Pokemon. This is one of his many ranking videos, and I'm starting on the newer contented ones, even though this came out 2 years ago. I'm gonna start on these, and eventually we'll probably make a pretty good playlist on the channel. So, with that being said, let's get into this. I have been recommended this, and as you all know, I love Pokemon very intently. That was not the right word. Nevertheless. I love using that word. Let's start the video off in 3, 2, 1. Play.
If you're familiar with the channel, you must be telling yourself, this man rambles enough already talking about 10 Pokemon, 5 Pokemon, even 3 that one time. Now he's doing this many? Nurse, cancel my 1 o'clock. But as oversaturated as this video structure is, the metadata must be dead because none of yous are piped up for this one. So I'm gonna have to step up and tank my channel more. I'm gonna step up and rank all 34 of them, the 34 that I could count anyway, because regional forms are their own entity, and babies I'm not dealing with till I'm age 34. It's gonna be hard to rank completely accurately with this many, especially when I kinda just go by gut instinct most of the time. I'm not going to be able to get my full thoughts out on each one because I don't want it to be 2 hours. I'm going to try and balance out how much I like.
I will say I do feel like this man has one of the best ranking systems out of anybody on YouTube who ranks Pokemon. I don't know who does it. He might be the only one. Might be. But I mean, out of all those people, I like his rankings the best, so we're starting with the newer ones. This one, let's go.
Them subjectively, like design, compared to how necessary the evolution was and how good they are objectively. Because sometimes you just can't argue against cold hard stats, and other times you just can't argue against an alpha gamer jawline. For the undisputed worst cross-gen evolution, objectively, did Apom need a buff? Sure. Though I remember anybody asking. Yeah, nah. Apom's a plain design to begin with, and yet somehow they over-designed this evolution while still making it completely uninteresting.
I didn't know Apom was a trade evolution.
But anything Ambipom can do, so many others can pull off without wasting a slot.
These are trade evolutions, right? Oh no, they're cross-gen evolutions. These aren't trade. Trade's a later video. Which means, if you don't know what a cross-gen evolution is, I'll explain it. But that means that, like, in his base game, it didn't evolve, but like the next game that came out in one of the later games that used the same Pokemon, it had an evolution. That's pretty much all it means. So like Ambipom didn't have an evolution when it was released in Johto? What that one, but it did in Diamond and Pearl.
On your team, or embarrassing you in public to be seen with.
That might not be accurate.
33. The lesser of 2 sidemen compared to Ambipom. Yeah, fair enough.
Hitmon something.
Sideman of
Hitmon
the
top.
Family. Pro boxer. Pro kickboxer. Hasbro manufactured toy. Might even be the reason Rapid Spin became a move in Gen 2 to begin with. Give this thing something to keep himself busy with. A glorified Hoover. So at least it has a use. Licky licky.
Licky licky.
No likey likey. Didn't need to exist.
Those stats.
Lickitung would have made for a far better regional form. And seeing the recent ones, you know that's true. Back in the day, Lickitung was apparently grilled for being a poor man's Snorlax. So the evolution,
honestly, forgot Licky Licky
that,
existed.
I
thought it was just Lickitung.
That just becomes a poor man's Ordino.
Right.
You're telling me there's a counterpart to Vileplume with no more poison stab? I'd tell you that's some fresh Pokedex filler right there.
I do love Blossom more than Vileplume.
Like an alternative evolution to Sunkern. From what I can see, its only purpose is to quiver dance and sap opponents to drag it down to its level statistically. I feel like some people get a little bit heated when I say I don't rate Rhyperior, because to me, this is prime Sinnoh trying way too hard with his redesigns.
I like
He's got
Rhyperior.
some big boy stats,
Just because it's a lot stronger than the original.
The most common type, and with that speed and that special
That
defense,
is also
that
true.
leaves it ripe for getting sparked out by squeezing a melted Calippo over it. Probopars.
I didn't know it would die
First of
that
all,
easily.
You look disgusting. You look like a mighty bush creature. Maybe I was a bit
Wait,
too
bro,
hard.
like, legit, who invented Probopass? That man should just take the pen away from him. That animator, that artist, no. You know. One of, legit, the most ugly Pokemon I've ever seen. The most unsmashable Pokemon is Probopass.
On high vis Rhydon, because this is peak trying too hard with evolution designs. Not that I'd really know what you do with Nose Pass, is your blank canvas to do that
Then
in
again,
the first place.
yeah.
At the very least though, defensively
It
sound,
did come from
very
Nose
resistant
Pass,
trap
so
combination. It even has Magnet Pull, but on this list alone, already outclassed by something else with that ability. Now, Dusknoir
All out.
has a lot going for it that keeps me from putting it so far down the list it gets better signal. In my opinion, the design is a top improvement from Dusclops. I rate the lore behind it, I rate the character and mystery dungeon alone, but not only is it outclassed by other ghosts, a lot of people think it's a downgrade of an evolution when you arguably get outmatched by your teenage self gripping a rock. Yanma evolved and clickbaited everyone with that new name. There was potential here for Yan to be
Mega.
Everyone says. It's so obvious. Why wouldn't the Dragonfly become a dragon type? I know they're not.
See, most of these are just like
Is it
2
that
evolution
much of a
Pokemon.
reach? In a world that commutes via metal birds, it would have been the only bug dragon dual type, which would have given it its own niche on that alone. But instead,
That would have
you
been
get
so
slapped
cool,
with that
though,
tragic
to be
type
honest.
combo. You're half dead on arrival from crumbs left on the floor.
Because literally bug and flying. Because flying's strong against bug, but like, yeah, a rock is just gonna wipe you completely out. I can never get having a Pokemon, like, I know there's Pokemon that you like, and you're just gonna use them because you like them, but like, if it has a 4 times multiplier of weakness against really anything, because you never know what's gonna hit you. Imagine if you were like, especially if you were in like the Black and White 2 World Tournament, kind of going in without knowing like what people really got, unless you're like a hardcore gamer and had to look it all up. But like, yeah, you're dead. You're done at that point.
I love the idea of rough brain bro having a smooth brain counterpart. Although I don't like it as much as I used to me it got fully Buzz Lightyeared by the Gallo one. It's not that awful though. He got some bulk, he got some regenerator. Although Slowbro must have
I do like Slowcane though.
Because a lot of people seem to argue it's the superior Slow. I'm gonna throw Magmortar and Electivire.
I don't really like
as a
Slowbro that
package
much.
deal here. Even though I like Electivire more for looking like a turbocharged honey monster, because my issues with them, they're kind of the same. These two create the illusion of being really good. They got high attack stats, mixed move pools. They're both wall breakers. But when the time comes to break the walls down, they're gonna choke against the big boys. They might be able to pull some shifts on the undercard. You know, big fish, small urethra kind of thing. But they're not going near the main eventers. The thing that really held them back, I'd say, Vulcan season must have hit too hard over the 10-second trade animation. They evolved to lose out on speed, which doesn't help.
Oh yeah.
None of the cross-gen
They had a lot
evolutions are too
higher
bad.
speed in the original.
At least in photos. Getting into a scrap is a
Photos.
bit, but overall, they still rank above Flareon
But
to
like
me. They probably could
Glaceon,
have done something to make Glaceon stand out more as an ice type.
I was
but
gonna
to me,
say
it's
Glaceon is surprisingly weak. He's probably surprisingly one of the weakest out of all the EVs. Like, it looks like aesthetically looks really pleasing. Looks like a really good evolution. But like, if base EV has somewhat of a chance of beating you, then it could be out of there. But just ice type alone is kind of iffy when it comes to actually fighting.
just another ice type asking for a paddling.
Because it's like,
maybe you're not as far off
you're
as
strong-
Flareon as I
you're
thought.
strong
You're
against
learning how to
dragon,
swim in
but
the same shallow learner's end of the move
that's a
pool
dragon
along with
early
him.
game.
And it's not going to be a package deal for the Sinnoh EVs, because I prefer Leafeon a lot more. Definitely the most underrated EV design. It's just that the Sinnoh 2 are very outranked by a lot of the others in the EV family. They were kind of destined to be outclassed by their siblings as soon as they decided
definitely
they wanted
Umbreon.
two EVs with two very vulnerable types defensively, and then they decided not to give them that much of a move pool or even the necessary stat distributions to even try and combat that. These boys, they kind of got
Leafeon is weak to that.
Politoed
I
is
know
one
Leafeon was weak to so much.
It invades an already airtight evolution line. But unlike Blossom, I for one welcome the Polly's quirky uncle
Politoed
showing up and making it drizzle. But as much as
I like
rate
Politoed.
the Toad, it's bang on.
I like it more than
meaty.
the other
It's
one.
a prime weather setter, but it's just so many good
doesn't-
cross-gen evolutions to justify
It doesn't have
Politoed
very
that
good
much
stats
higher.
though for a third evolution
Kingdra is an
Pokemon.
evolution that didn't miss the potential. Didn't miss out on that
Love
dragon dual
Kingdra.
typing.
It's amazing.
The unique type before the God of Space and the result of playing God got a hold of it. You could maybe argue its stats are a bit too balanced. You're playing as Mario in Mario Kart kind of thing. But that swift swim with 85 speed, you better believe that you're pedaling. There's nearly an animal alive that can outrun a greased Kingdra. Steelix is a top design, arguably the most necessary evolution out of any Pokemon. Onix is a giant land snake whose biggest adversary has been the invention of the tap. He's had this one coming since the day he got tapped in by Brock Sprinkler. I just can't rank it that much higher.
Not
Even
the
with a
fire
Mega Form,
alarm.
it's pretty solid. It's not that amazing though. Still got some of those weak Onix genes left in it to work the kinks out of. Still got a soft spot for water balloons.
It's alright.
Frostless comes in with another alternative
Frostless,
evolution
though.
that actually fits the bill. Coming up
Frostless.
against its bang-on average Glalie counterpart.
Epic
The Ghost
compared
Ice
to
dual
Glalie.
type is fresh. It's got hazards, utilities, stab, and all.
Only thing I can't believe, how did they give Glalie a Mega Evolution but not Frostless? They're even in the same Pokemon family. They're in the same gene family. What's up with that? What? Why didn't they both get the Mega Evolution? What if when you tried to Mega Evolve Frostless, it just went to the Glalie's Mega Evolution? Oh, that'd be painful. I guess it would be because Frostless evolves through the use of a stone rather than Glalie, who just evolves normally. But yeah, I still like Frostless better for obvious reasons.
All of it actually matters here, since it has the speed to cover for how frail ice types can be. So at the very least, it could slap you with a Destiny Bond before you take the bait of sparking it out. Everyone loves Scissor, or it feels that way anyway. Everyone gets gassed for the clamps to get some action. It's like an all-in-one action figure. You've got priority, recover, stab, even a little dance
Legit
to go along
bullet
with
punch.
It. I always forget how slow Scissor
Sword
is, though.
dance,
And if
bullet
I can
punch
Steelix
combo.
to drop into a water gun, I'm
Epic.
gonna have to grill the clamps for melting if he goes within 10 feet of the hobs. Scissor might not be as high up here as a lot of people would be expecting, and I think that's because in the back of my mind, I know I prefer Scyther. And we have another prime example
prefer Scissor.
of an alternative evolution.
I like them
done
both,
right.
but I
Delayed,
prefer
It was
Scissor.
a necessary adaptation of Kirlia. It needed it to survive, evolving its elbows into lethal weapons to fend off the Simpords gunning for Gardevoir. The concept of a fighting counterpart to Gardevoir, that bangs. And it lives up to the types with good stab coverage, swords dance to juice itself up. It's surprisingly good defense. I only got one thing I'm curious about though. What's going on? What's going on here? What's going on downstairs? Looks like he got his prescriptions mixed up with Mr. Krabs. One day, a Murkrow clocked what Giovanni was doing, and he started taking notes. Get Sideman Murkrow to goon around for you. Murkrow looks like the kind of Pokemon that'd give you the kiss of death, and the Don himself has the move pool to back it up. Although one of its staple moves being Brave Bird, with these defenses, he might just be giving himself the kiss of death, you know what I'm talking about? I think it's a good step up from Sneasel. It looks alright. It's a solid design.
Sneasel.
I'd say even
Sneasel's
just
a Weavile.
the right
Love it.
amount of physical
Epic.
change that
Awesome.
Sneasel could have
Amazing.
had without it going
Yes.
overboard, but it ranks reasonably high because Weavile has
Especially
what a
in
lot of other
Pokken
ice
tournament.
types lack. the power and speed to cover for that poor defensive typing. Because offensively,
Power and
it's
speed.
an absolute weapon, especially for an ice type. It is a spark or be sparked out world.
It's like
and we
super
will know
fast
this.
and super strong. That's what it's all
What I rate most
about.
about Roserade as a cross-gen evolution is that they
yes,
pulled
that's a great
off
one
what
too.
They tried to do with Apom. Took a prime
I'm kind of
Pokédex
shocked by a
filler,
lot of
something
these
which
because
had
I didn't know that they were
potential in its
cross-gen.
first draft
Even though
concept design and low stats,
I should.
fleshed it all out properly. Before
I
it
love it,
devoured
though.
a shiny stone, it had some uses on its own.
It's like before Mioscara, we had Roserade, who was. How cool would that be? I'm surprised people haven't made art of that yet, of Mioscara and Roserade, because they both are like they both have the mask. Pretty much that's it, just the mask. Just kind of funny combo, you know. And they're both grass types, so yeah, something there. Don't take my idea.
But Roserade is the evolution it needed to compete with the bigger boys and really feel complete. Miss Magius, definitely one of my favorites from the Sinnoh evolution.
Love Miss
One where it
Magius.
could have had whatever
One of my
stats,
faves.
and I'd still try to use it where I could. But even then, it doesn't do too badly for itself as a special sweeper. But there's one glaring
okay.
thing
It's
about
got
it. I play online pretty inconsistently.
pretty good stats.
But when I do, I'm always paranoid of that pursuit trap. And with that defense, Onyx would tank a fire hose better than Miss Magius with a pursuit. So it has its flaws. And I still think it should have gotten a fairy-type Galarian form like I mentioned before and counter this flaw.
That would have been cool too.
I've always liked
See
the
that?
lore around the Porygon
11 to
line, a
11.5.
man-made coded creature made to explore space that developed to learn and process emotions
Living
for itself
code.
and then go into this complete botch job on the software. Now they've developed an insanely powerful glitch that at any moment could be a split second away from try-attacking you with that 130 special attack
Porygon
and
Z.
adaptability double stab bonus. Chuck on a nasty plot boost and I doubt there's many mortal mons that can tank that hit. Whenever anyone
Pretty
mugs off
epic.
ice types, Mamoswine is there to pull the weight for the rest of them. Ice and ground, that still does leave it defensively clapped, fair enough, but it's not gonna
Even
let
though
you
it's
take
ice
it
and
down
ground,
as
I think
easily as most of
Mamoswine's
the
pretty
other ice
good.
types, ripe and ready for a paddling like that Glaceon. You've got
It's a very
prime
durable
foil for
ice
dragon
type.
types with priority ice shard, big meaty slab earthquakes.
And you can
that
use Earthquake, yeah.
reliably
And
settle
you can use
blocks throughout the
Earthquake.
battle. I rate
Mainly
Espeon,
Earthquake.
both design and mostly practically, is fast enough
Espeon.
to use its special attack.
That's-
but that
that's one
doesn't
of the
stop me
top.
from
Same with
getting that
Umbreon.
Same pursuit trap paranoia again. The Alolan Muck I used to use used to lick his gooey chops at the idea of facing something that ripe for a pursuit. Even with recovery moves, it's too late. That defense is probably going to leave it one pursuit away from bedtime. Magic Bounce is a top ability though. Can't argue against that on any team. But I have no pursuit.
I'm afraid
paranoia
using
if I'm
Pokemon
using
that have, like,
Umbreon,
a
not only
defense
because of
below
its dark
75,
typing, but even
at
if it
least.
were a psychic type, that defense would tank the hit, and it's got
Yeah.
enough recovery options to come back from it.
See, defense
I don't care
being
if they're
high
a
is
package
kinda
deal
important
in the
for me
Region, 'cause I'm an
as a
Umbreon
trainer.
guy when you're talking about these two. It's not the favorite evolution, but I can't
Always
fault
loved
anyone for having
Umbreon.
Umbreon
It's
as their
epic.
favorite. Tangrowth is one that really goes under the radar. I barely see this thing mentioned, yet it's been slugging its way in and out of OU since Kalos.
That thing
I
is
never
something
clocked that not only is it one of
never
the
really
better Sinnoh
used.
redesigns, but it also clocks into work to pull some major
There used
shifts.
to have a
That much
card of
defensive
that,
bulk,
and I didn't
regenerator,
even know what the
always a
hell it
tanky
was.
combination. Now we've gone through all of the evolutions that are cross-generational, but we all know the top one is Sylveon. Sylveon is
Definitely
a unit. The
Sylveon.
berry type was fresh. They needed a staple mon to show that
Baryon.
it's not useless. You get Florges, you get Sylveon. Unlike the Sinnoh EVs, it's not locked to a type that's gonna ruin it. It got locked with the fresh new pink fairy sticker. It's
not even that.
from day one.
That's
It's
the
held
one
back by its
Pokemon
speed
with
like the rest,
65
but
defense
nowhere near
that
to
I would
the
put on my
same
team.
level. Fairy is an
Just because
overpowered type
it's insanely
defensively when you
powerful.
compared to ice and grass. Plus,
Just
Sylveon's
two.
not in the kiddie pool with the other
Legit.
evolutions.
Just
Man's
two.
in the diving area. Its moves bang.
Almost all of our
Maybe the
Pokemon.
most notorious
Like-
Pokemon for spamming everyone with random encounters evolves into an absolute
Crobat.
demon if you learn to love it. Crobat is not only a top
You
tier
learn to
design,
love
the
it.
best Johto cross evolution design. If you're a sucker for purple
It looks
like me, then
so
you give
cool.
it speed that
Same.
can only be
Sucker for
matched
purple.
by deities
It looks
or
epic,
aliens.
but not even that.
or
It's
fly.
just
it's
that
not perfect. The rest of its stats do let it down a
It just
little
doesn't
bit,
look
but
like the
amount
other
of
two
utility in its
Pokemon.
move pool and the boss man
what it came
infiltrator
from.
ability for just airing substitutes, while knowing that it's almost guaranteed to land first. That's where the money's at for Crobat. It seems like the shiny stone has been a blessing to many underwhelming mons. Togetic
So
needed
get
to
to
die with
Togekiss?
Roselia to bless us
Amazing.
with serene grace and air slash.
Can't believe you need 2 items to evolve that Pokemon.
Enough as it was
It's kind of just insane as is.
Then you slap the fairy type on it, and you've
Like-
got something that's
like,
bulky.
you
full of
know,
support moves,
Cynthia
and
has
2
a
out of 3
Togekiss,
times
like-
it hits you, you're gonna flinch.
Gonna get
You can
wrecked
make
by
an
it,
argument for this
no
being
doubt.
the pound for pound
Around 3.
most rage-inducing Pokemon in history. Maybe second to
Chansey?
Miltank, but here it's
No.
actually justified. You can't just catch yourself from a chop nearby
Not
to
the
walk
Miltank.
through Blissey. Was this evolution even necessary? With the rise of Eevee like Chansey? Yeah, nah. You legitimately have to cancel that 1 o'clock if you're hoping to have a quick match. And if your team has its physical attackers taken out, you're
Oh my
gonna
God.
get yourself Joshua Waldemired.
Nothing
My
is
God.
nothing is legit worse in the Pokemon game than getting in a trainer battle with someone. One that you can't leave, like you can't just exit it. Getting into a trainer battle with someone, and the NPC is capable of hitting you with an ability and then attack. Like the NPC knows that their Pokemon can't kill yours, but it's gonna draw out the fight as long as possible to the point where you're just like, make it end. They'll just like they'll lower your attacking power, they'll lower your defense, they'll lower your speed, your accuracy, everything, and then you're just stuck there. And then you're doing like a smidgen of damage, and it's just killing you inside very slowly. One of the worst things ever experienced in Pokemon. I've experienced it a couple times throughout just different games. Like, I can't even believe they make NPCs like that. They just want to torment us. Okay, let's get back.
Isn't that bad on its own? So what happens when you
Gligar.
take Gligar and hook him up with Mr. Krabs' pharmacist? You get such a weapon. One that
Gliscor.
slots into any team. One that's flexible enough to check off all the boxes. You need some defensive backup.
He's
Gliscor's
also
it
got
covered.
the
You want some
clamps.
kneecaps busted? Gliscor's your guy. You've got stat boosts, hazard, stab, immunity, recovery moves, and abilities. Gliscor is an all-terrain vehicle. Magnezone. This was a risky design choice to go for, but it paid off. I reckon the UFO concept.
Kinda interesting.
It could have
I didn't think
easily overstepped its
Magnezone would be
boundaries
one.
and pulled a Probo pass.
Maybe because
but
I
they
never
nailed it
used Magnezone
just right.
before.
The design bangs that
But
hard, and you could argue it shows up to bang
it
even
is
harder
very
in a scrap. Prime magnet pull
poetic
user,
how it just
Ram
kinda
special attack.
evolved.
Any steel type gets
Made
baited
sense,
in.
made
They're
perfect
getting chucked
sense.
on those Hobbs scissor
So
kicks
he's-
away from definitely the best balance.
Look at those
What's
but
good
UFO
subjectively
stats, come
and
on.
objectively. It has the
Too
balance
good.
of, well, yes, it's a near unique magnet puller, making it very niche in the medic. And do be a UFO. UFO go. Bzzz. So if I had to vaguely show you mentally how
UFO
I did
go
this, it
beep.
would look a little something like this.
Pretty good. Notorious 1UPz. I think he's Mr1upz now. Nevertheless, that was our first reaction to Mr1upz. Hope you guys enjoyed. That was pretty epic. Oh, there was 35 of them? Okay. I didn't think... I knew that at the beginning, but I don't know. I thought there was like 20-something. Weird. But when you think about it, you'd think there'd actually be a lot more, but I think there's a lot less nowadays because people probably just think it's really weird to have Pokemon that you just kind of like, oh, we forgot about them, so we're just gonna make them evolve in a new game rather than having them in another game. There probably has been some. This came out 2 years ago, so there's probably in Scarlet and Violet. There's probably a few. Is there? I don't actually know. Tell me down in the comments what you think. But with that being said, as always, I'm Anthropomorphic Nerd, and I can't wait to get into more of these ranked videos. That being said, see you next time. Bye, guys.